Hello, Cinemaster lovers. Welcome back. I hope you're ready for an exciting experience because we've got something special for you today. Get comfortable, grab your snacks, and let's dive right into the action. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Let's get started. The film begins with a young boy named Leo, whose grandmother wakes him up to go to school. Leo is obsessed with professional wrestling, and his room is filled with pictures of wrestlers. He loves wrestling and dreams of becoming a famous wrestler when he grows up. We see Leo quickly getting dressed and ready so he won't be late for school. He rides his bike and meets up with his friends to go to school together. When they arrive, they encounter the most popular student in school, named Trevor, who always bullies Leo and his friends, belittling them in front of everyone. This time, Trevor mocks and hits Leo until a teacher sees them and sends Trevor and his friends to the principal's office for what they did to Leo. After that, Leo sits with his friends, and it's noticeable that he has a crush on a classmate named Erica, but she doesn't seem to notice him, and he's too shy to approach her. After school, Leo heads home but is surprised to find Trevor and his friends waiting to beat him up because the principal punished them because of him, and they want revenge. Leo takes his bike and tries to escape, but they begin to chase him. He enters a house party to hide from them and locks himself in a room filled with wrestling memorabilia. He explores the room and finds a strange-looking mask with a terrible smell. Despite the smell, Leo decides to try on the mask because it looks like a wrestling mask. Just then, the homeowner enters, and Leo doesn't get a chance to put on the mask. The homeowner angrily asks Leo what he's doing in the house, and Leo explains that a group was chasing him to beat him up, and he accidentally entered the house while trying to escape. The homeowner feels sorry for Leo and offers him the mask if he wants it. Leo is delighted and takes the mask home. He sits with his grandmother and watches wrestling matches together. After the matches, they see an advertisement for a WWE wrestling competition. The winner will sign a contract with the organization and become an official wrestler with a prize of $50,000. The competition will be held in their city, which excites Leo, and he becomes very enthusiastic about it. Later, Leo overhears his father, Steve, talking to his grandmother about a bank loan of $20,000 that needs to be paid off quickly, or the bank might foreclose on their house. The grandmother is shocked and asks how they will come up with such an amount. Steve says he's looking for a job and will try to gather the money. Leo is upset and troubled by what he hears, but feels helpless. He goes to play with anything to distract himself from thinking about his father's loan. He takes out the strange mask given to him by the homeowner and decides to wear it. As soon as he puts it on, he is surprised to find that his voice changes to that of an adult, and his speech resembles that of famous wrestlers. He tries jumping while wearing the mask and is amazed that he can jump higher than usual and even flip. When he jumps, a wardrobe almost falls on him, but he can stop it with just one finger. Here, he discovers that the mask gives him superpowers and decides to test this further. He goes to the garage and tries lifting a car, finding he can do it with one hand. He then punches a tree and breaks it easily. Leo is amazed by the superpowers the mask gives him and decides to research the mask's history. He discovers an old legend that the mask is magical and grants mysterious or superpowers to those who deserve them, and the mask itself decides who is worthy. Leo realizes that he is special and the mask has chosen to give him superpowers. The next day, Leo goes to school and finds Trevor and his gang beating up his close friends. Leo decides to use the mask to save his friends. He turns off the lights, puts on the mask, and confronts Trevor and his gang. When the lights come back on, all the students are surprised to see Trevor and his friends beaten and hanging up. All the students laugh at them and cheer for Leo for what he did, even though they didn't see anything but the aftermath. After school, Leo sits with his friends discussing what happened until they see the competition advertisement again. This time, Leo focuses more and notices that he could win a large amount of money if he wins the competition, which could also help pay off his father's debt. He gets the crazy idea to enter the competition wearing the mask. He starts preparing himself, deciding what to wear with the mask, and chooses an anonymous name for himself. Once everything is ready, he goes to the competition venue, registers officially, and sits among all the wrestlers participating in the competition. Everyone who sees him is surprised by his size and age and treats him rudely, except for one respectful and kind wrestler named Sheamus. Sheamus treats Leo normally, lets him sit next to him, and they get to know each other. A famous wrestler announces the start of the qualifiers for the competition. The first stage involves each contestant throwing a very heavy barrel, and the ones who throw it the farthest will qualify for the next stage. The qualifiers begin, and a massive and strong contestant named Samson throws 2 barrels instead of 1, impressing everyone with his incredible strength. People start betting on him after witnessing his power. Then Leo's turn comes, and he throws his barrel with such force that it exits the building. Everyone is surprised by Leo's strength in this stage and starts paying attention to him. Leo continues to excel in the qualifiers, proving himself among all the wrestlers despite his small size. After the qualifiers, they select the individuals who will advance to the competition, and what he has is between them and with Sheamus and Samson. He comes home at night but doesn't enter through the door. He enters enters through his room's window because it's late, and he doesn't want his father and grandmother to know what time he returned. But as soon as he enters, he finds his grandmother awake, waiting and asking him why he was late and where he was. So he sits with her and tells her everything from the magical mask to the competition and asks her to promise not to tell his father about it. At that time, his grandmother listens, shocked and unbelieving, but he assures her of the truth of his words and insists until she promises not to tell his father. She also tells him she will watch the competition, cheer for him, and support him to win. The next day, he goes to school and sits watching Arca as usual, but his friends keep encouraging him to take a step and talk to her, especially after she noticed him fighting Trevor and his friends, and actually goes and talks to her. They get to know each other and agree to study together. After school, he goes to the competition because that day is the start of the round of 16, and he faces a very strong opponent. But he is confident in himself and the mask. The match begins, and at first the opponent is superior, but Leo returns to the match with strength, and with the help of the mask, he manages to beat the opponent. He wins the match and qualifies for the quarterfinals, happy and excited. His grandmother is even happier watching him on TV. Later, Arca visits him to study together as agreed, and they spend a pleasant time getting to know each other. The last day comes, and Leo goes to the competition for the quarter-final match. His opponent this time is big and much larger than Leo, and the audience bets that this wrestler will easily defeat Leo. But contrary to expectations, when the match begins, Leo wipes the floor with the wrestler. He defeats him with ease and qualifies for the semi-finals. Leo becomes more famous, and people hear about him and his incredible strength and follow him. Leo's fame reaches Samson, who is surprised how someone so young can have such power. Samson suspects Leo is hiding something and decides to investigate him. Leo talks to his friend Sheamus, who tells him he also qualified for the semi-finals. The funny thing is, they will face each other, and after becoming friends, they must confront each other in the ring. One will win, and the other will lose. Leo says they will play fairly, and the better wrestler will win without cheating. Leo then hangs out with his friends at the restaurant, and Arca is with them. They talk, and Arca says she wants to enter a dance competition, but is afraid of not being accepted and is too nervous to perform alone in front of an audience. Leo encourages and supports her, giving her confidence and offers to join the competition and dance with her. She agrees. Suddenly, while they are talking, a thief enters to rob the place by force. Leo decides to put on the mask and stop the thief. He faces the thief, saves the situation, and everyone cheers for him, especially his friends, who are proud of him. Leo's fame grows so much that journalists come to interview him about his heroics. Days pass, and Leo's relationship with Arca develops as they spend more time together because Arca is training him for the talent competition. The day of Leo's semi-final match against his friend Sheamus arrives, but before the match, Samson's manager puts a sticky substance on the steps Leo will climb. When Leo steps on it, his movements become very slow, and he can hardly move. But he must enter the match, and it begins. Sheamus takes advantage of Leo's inability to move because of his shoes. When Leo discovers the substance on his shoes, he decides to use the situation to his advantage, and cleverly faces Sheamus, managing to defeat him. He wins the match and qualifies for the final to face Samson in the cage. After the match, Leo takes the microphone, praises Sheamus, and says nice words about him. Then Leo talks to his friends and grandmother without the mask, but Samson's manager secretly observes them and discovers that Leo is just a child and that the mask gives him superpowers. Without it, he is nothing. Arca asks Leo not to be late for the talent competition because they will dance together. Leo says he has an important press conference, which he will finish quickly and then come to her. He goes to the conference and belittles Samson in front of everyone, causing Samson to lose his temper and almost attack him, but security holds him back. After the conference, Leo takes photos with fans and does interviews, completely forgetting about Arca and the performance. Arca has to dance alone, feeling sad and embarrassed, but she impresses the audience and judges. After the performance, Leo arrives and goes to Arca and his friends, but they are upset because he didn't attend. Instead of apologizing, he tells them his competition is more important than the talent show, and that he is famous and has fans, implying he doesn't need to prioritize them all the time. They are upset with his arrogance and leave him. Leo returns home and is surprised to find Trevor and his friends waiting to get back at him for what he did to them. Unfortunately, he doesn't have time to put on the mask, and they manage to beat him up. He returns home and sits alone without talking to his father or grandmother. His father tries to speak with him and improve their relationship, but Leo pushes him away, saying he doesn't want to talk. His grandmother talks to him, explaining his behavior is wrong, and that true strength doesn't come from magical masks, but from the mind and heart. Leo is affected by her words. The next day, Leo apologizes to his friends for his behavior and tells them that fame was affecting him. He was pressured, but he finally got back on the right track and realized he had no value without them. They felt that he returned to being their old friend, so they forgave him and became friends friends again. Days passed until the day of the final match for Leo, where he would face Samson, who was at his wit's end with Leo. He was waiting for the day to finish him off and expose him. Before the match starts, Samson and his manager go to Leo in the changing room. Samson's manager tells Leo that he knows his true self and that he is just a weak child with no importance. The manager distracts him until they switch Leo's mask with a fake one. Then the manager leaves, and Samson and Leo enter the cage, and the match begins. From the start, Leo notices that he is very weak and can't defend himself or hit as hard as before. Samson reveals the real mask and tells Leo he has a fake one and is about to be beaten to death. Samson tries to put on the magic mask but can't, so he decides to beat Leo without the mask. Samson runs at Leo to engage with him, but Leo keeps running from him in the cage. Scared, he climbs the cage and stays on top. Samson decides to climb after him to catch him and bring him back to the ring. At that moment, Steve, Leo's father, enters and tells his son that Samson is afraid of heights, which is obvious as he climbs. Leo continues to provoke Samson to look down. When Samson finally does, he gets dizzy and falls to the ground, dazed. At that moment, Leo can reach the magic mask and use it, but he refuses and decides to win without it. Leo jumps on Samson from above, manages to overpower him, and wins the match. The entire audience is happy for Leo and chants his name. Afterwards, Leo speaks into the microphone, thanking his grandmother, father, friends, and everyone who supported him. The Federation comes to present Leo with the prize and informs him that he will receive the prize money but will not be allowed to enter the WWE because he is still too young. However, he is allowed to choose another wrestler to enter in his place. Without hesitation, Leo chooses Sheamus, saying he is the most deserving wrestler for that spot. 2 weeks later, we see Leo after he helped his father with the prize money he won. His relationship with his father has greatly improved, and they are living an ideal life. Leo decides to join the school's wrestling team to start his journey from scratch and achieve his dream with his willpower and determination, without a magic mask or any superpower.